Good afternoon and welcome to the Midday News. I'm Aliyah Bryant. Here's what we have in the bulletin.
Second victim dies in Braco crash. CSEC entries fall as exam absenteeism rises. And later in sports, Jamaica lacrosse kickstarts qualifiers with a win.
Thank you for joining us. Now the details. The Planning Institute of Jamaica, PIOJ, is reporting that the economy is estimated to have contracted by 2.9% during the April to June 2026 quarter. The decline was recorded when compared with the corresponding period in 2025. Now, the figures were released a short while ago during the PIOJ's quarterly economic briefing.
The outturn for the review quarter largely reflected the continued downturn in most industries due to the lingering impact of Hurricane Melissa. The hurricane led to an estimated decline in domestic demand as a result of a reduction in the employed labor force and lower levels of business and consumer confidence. The hurricane's impact was compounded by the El Niño phenomenon, which is expected to bring hotter, drier conditions and heightened risks to agricultural output, water availability, and public health, thereby threatening livelihoods and the performance of some industries.
The region is showing improvement in mathematics, with the overall pass rate in the 2026 May-June CSEC examinations rising to 48%. This represents a significant increase from 31.45% last year. However, performance in social studies declined, with the overall pass rate recorded at 31.45%. Meanwhile, Dr. Manning says absenteeism among CAPE candidates has improved, but the figures for CSEC remain concerning. Now, candidates may now access their results through CXC's official website. The Caribbean Examinations Council, CXC, is reporting an increase in the number of candidates and subjects entered for this year's CAPE examinations across the region. However, fewer candidates were registered to sit the Caribbean Secondary Education Certificate, CSEC, examinations. The council is also raising concerns about high absenteeism during the progress and opportunities.
We had 3,534 candidates.
Not even how much part I reach.
Being absent. Now, what does this mean for our candidates? A candidate who is absent has no opportunity to be graded because they have missed a component and cannot be graded. So that candidate would have lost out on that opportunity. For CSEC, it's even more worrying. At 32,403 candidates not turning up for exams is something that the education system across the region has to be concerned about. It is something that the Caribbean Examinations Council is concerned about, and we are working very hard to encourage our candidates to turn up. Parents, guardians, turn up. We are encouraging our educators to encourage these students to turn up. We have done many surveys, and the surveys tell us that sometimes candidates just feel that they're unprepared and decide not to turn up.
Meanwhile, CXC's Director of Operations, Dr. Nicole Manning, says more than half of Jamaica's examination centers requested and received special arrangements following Hurricane Melissa last October.
Many of those candidates lost homes, and the Caribbean Examinations Council, through our CXC Disaster Recovery Protocol, we were able to work with Jamaica and to ensure that these candidates were not left behind. Approximately 50% of those centers all the centers were given the opportunity to select which mode they would take. Now, we have a tried and proven strategy called the modified approach. And so 50% of those candidates, those centers in that part of the country being affected, selected the modified approach.
Newly installed Jamaica Teachers Association President Lasandra Harrison has vowed to fight fiercely for the nation's educators. Ms. Harrison succeeded outgoing President Mark Malabva during Monday's investiture ceremony at the association's 62nd annual conference in Trelawney. She pledged to champion teachers' rights, welfare, and professional development.
Yours truly signed the petition. They asked me, so why are you signing? You did not experience what we experienced. But had I not been driving, I too would have experienced what they experienced. You know why we don't reach much further in Jamaica? Because when some of us have reached, or we think we are there, we no longer remember the struggles of those who are in situations not as privileged as we are.
The new JTA president also revealed that she has faced rejection and been misunderstood, but she insists those setbacks will not weaken her resolve to lead or advance the interests of educators nationwide.
Today, that is not a challenge with which I grapple. There are days I will try to help persons understand. There are others I will leave the Spirit of God to do that work. No matter what I try, I will not succeed. I cannot allow that to stop me from saying what I have been instructed to say or am convinced I need to say. Narratives affect atmospheres, and shifts influences behaviors. God's agenda must always be represented in all I say and do.
A second person has died following Monday's two-vehicle crash on the Braco main road in Trelawney. The victims have been identified as 25-year-old Alicia Dormer of Westgate Hills and 25-year-old O'Neill Henry of Catherine Hall, both in Montego Bay. Reports are that about 4:50 in the afternoon, Mr. Henry was driving a Suzuki Grand Vitara towards Falmouth with Miss Dormer as a passenger. Now, he reportedly lost control of the SUV, which collided with an oncoming Freightliner truck. Mr. Henry died at the scene, while Miss Dormer later died while being treated in hospital. No injuries have been reported among the occupants of the truck. Now, the cause of the crash has not yet been determined.